Do you know someone that got rich from the last recession? If so, how did they do it? The news says we are headed into another recession. So, do you know someone that got rich from the last recession? If so, how did they do it? My IT and software consulting always picks up 6 months after mass layoffs. Tech debt is my bread and butter. So many orphaned and failing systems need expensive interventions to keep the business running. So few experienced people willing to wade into the stunt show. Pro tip: don't listen to what the news has to say about the future of the economy. They have no idea. Just like everyone else. So in the 2008 downturn, the housing market really tanked and was way undervalued. I know a guy who bought like 17 houses with separate mortgages and fixed it so they all closed on the same day so that the credit report wouldn't show all the debt. I've worked in the mortgage industry and I'm not 100% of all the details on how he made that work. But it did. I don't know what he did with them after that. He initially rented them out. But if he held them till now, he's probably doubled or tripled his money on all of them. Real estate. By pumping the stock of a dying video game retailer. I bought suburban homes in foreclosure and otherwise quite cheaply from 2009, 2014 and rented them out. Now they're worth an awful lot more. I sold a few of them but am keeping the rest for my retirement. You get rich from recessions by being financially prudent during the good times. And not overextending yourself into a bunch of investments debt when things are going great, so that when things go south, you have the wherewithal and cash and ability to take on investment debt to act accordingly. We have been headed into another recession since around 2019. I bought Apple around $9 per share. Look into what people need that have lost their jobs and/or homes. There will be a lot of them. If you can figure out what they need, you are set. 2 things that I am looking into right now: dog-friendly RV parks yarded, and buying some land to put, not necessarily tiny homes onto, but smallish homes that the recently evicted can rent. Something much more affordable than renting a full house. And family friendly. My folks bought a restaurant. Served simple foods at cheap prices. They said people always gotta eat and a cheap meal is a nice treat. They did pretty well and sold it when the economy recovered at a profit. The best contrarian play right now is office buildings. Often very nice ones. You can buy at a discount. Rent at a discount. Compare the purchase price to their replacement costs. Shorting the market and then using those gains to buy discounted assets. I think it's all relative, but I had a family member suffer huge losses in his business during the '08 crash. Export business to Europe with lots of inventory. He managed to take the cash that he had and buy a bunch of condos on the beach just north of Miami. For something like $250K a piece. Today those units are worth $800–900K each. Canned dog food sales. Dry powder describes mostly liquid holdings that you have ready for when you can start buying assets at a discount. In a recession, people may need money. Their idea of value changes. Their margin for comfort may be smaller. And you find those people investors' businesses right when they need to sell something. You show up with your dry powder to capitalize on their need to sell. It feels predatory. And it a little bit is. That's also how you make money. I'm eyeing several things right now that, when I see the opportunity, I'm buying. We're not quite there yet but getting closer. Hold on to cash. Be ready to be a buyer with cash when everyone else has to borrow. Cleaning business. Easiest way to turn your riches into $1 million these days. Start with $2 million. My missus bought a 2-bed apartment in Miami residential area for £100,000 in 2009. It was from a bank that had foreclosed. It's worth 3 times that now. She had the cash savings when no one else did. Not rich. But I know the tech industry was insulated last recession. As in they weren't affected as much. I'm trying to figure out my strategy for making money on the recession too. I'm stuck between my desire to help the little guy and my desire to make profit off the big guy. Either I need a lot of little guys or a big guy. Traditionally, they say that in a recession or depression sin industries perform well. Alcohol, gambling, etc. I've also heard that many option 2 for lack of better term companies outperform their expectations when the economy is weak. New home sales may be low. But instead people decide to save money and remodel their current house. Companies may be tightening their belts and opting to reseal their asphalt parking lots instead of repaving. New clothing sales may falter but upscale thrift stores may thrive. I believe you will find budget food brands and necessities likely were the most profitable. Look into that. Halo 3 did extremely well during a recession. A wise man once told me, good economic times are for increasing profitability. Bad economic times are for increasing your market share. Right now I'm focused on market share. Rich people got rich. That's who. Sugary treats like chocolate did surprisingly well in the 2008 recession, apparently because people wanted a cheap way to make themselves feel good. Honor vending, candy machines, and arcade games in the city. Not even joking. They made insane dollars and continue to do very well. We went out to eat one time and they did the old "I got this." Pulled out their card and gave it to the server, who actually gasped. Apparently it was some insanely high limit credit card. Go look at the stock market, which will make many millionaires. You can get shares of major companies for 50 the cost. I bet a lot of rich folks are dumping money into certain options in the options market. This is where you will see insane returns. For example, I know a guy who made $7,000 off a TSLA call a few weeks ago off a $400 initial investment. This option has a long time till expiry. Not saying this is a safe way to invest, but I'm sure we will see some crazy runners. Even the bad companies like Snap. $10 a share is crazy cheap. Of course. Go watch The Big Short. Meet rich Arabs. My friend did. I used to pay for his meals, now he doesn't even know me anymore. I bought a bunch of MSFT at like $25 share. The people I know who did well were zigging while everyone else was zagging. IOW. If you head into the recession debt-free versus all maxed out, you'll have plenty of money to scoop up bargains as they come by. The majority of the people who did really well lucked out with real estate. At the time, building and construction were at a standstill, and banks were loath to dump housing inventory. But when they did, there were people ready with cash, and construction people ready to work. I didn't get rich, but I used it to increase my net worth. I looked at a lot of higher value things that were crashing in price, and tried to take advantage. When things picked back up, I got a lot of free equity.